Okay, I worked on this one. This is the Coprion 18H 1972. Okay, this was in really rough shape when I got it. Like I said, I've said it many times in all my videos. I like them junky. You can see there's a lot of scratches on this, and that's as far as that's going to go because this is very soft, and I'm not going to take that. I'm not going to take that down any further. But I managed to get this buffed up because it was like brown. It was kind of weird. But I will jeweler's buff this with the red rouge tomorrow, and I will do the slide. Right now the slide is kind of satiny because I had to do some repair on it, and I got it all sanded. I had to take some of the orangey lacquer. You can still see remnants of that lacquer in there, and I'll get that out with my Dremel tool, and I had to align the slide so you can see little traces of the solder right there, and I'll grind that down. They'll go away, and had to straighten this out a little bit. So this looks really good right now. I had considered just leaving sort of that satin finish and then just putting a high gloss lacquer over it so it would have just a different look between the bell and the slide, but I don't know, we'll see. You know, I always like this part up here shiny, so I may leave this. Now here's the other thing you can see about the 18H, this 18H Coprion, is that this slide here, it's got sleeves, but they're not nickel sleeves. But you can see that clearly they're separate sleeves. They're not extruded. So there's two layers going in here. So that's good support. Like I said, when you get down to the end of the slide, there's good support on there. So this is all pretty good. Slide's working really nice. Now, I always say that my slides, they're not perfect 10s. You know, a lot of them, like I said, I get them, they're pretty tortured. You know, I try to get them at least to an 8. If I'm lucky, maybe a 9. Sometimes they're a 7. So what makes it a 7, an 8, or a 9? 8 is like, it's pretty good. It's very good. Like, not like new. New is like super quiet and super straight. 8 is completely functional. Slides, moves easily. You may hear a little bit of noise, and it doesn't grab anywhere. Okay, but you'll hear, you know, the slide a little bit because of all the repairs done to the slide. So I call that an 8, where it's perfectly and 100% functional with nothing impeding its action. 7 is you may hear like a little click that hasn't been able to get resolved, or you may feel it resist or drag just a hair somewhere. That's a 7. Okay. 6s are ones that I 6s and 5s are ones where you could play it with a lot of lube on it and it'll work and it'll be fine, but it'll grab a little bit. You have to push through it, but it's not going to bind. Binding is like when it's going to stop. It won't do that. So, and unfortunately, a number of my King 2Bs came to me in that condition. So I don't have a King 2B right now with a perfect slide on it. Most of them are all dragging either pretty hard in a couple areas. Regardless of 2 or 3 different people I would take these slides to, and the only other thing is to replace them, and I don't know if I want to spend all that money on them. So anyway, we'll look for some King 2Bs. Actually, I have a 1930s Liberty that I want to sell right now, but the slide's kind of janky, so you know, you may see that one go up anyway as is. Okay, so that's the Coprion. Okay, and again, for those of you who don't know how the Conn-Coprion bell was, they put a mandrel in the shape of the bell in a tank, and they attracted all the copper molecules to it to form the bell around the mandrel. So it is a solid piece of copper. There is no stitching, hammering, pounding, shaping, forming. It was formed on the mandrel. Of course, they did roll the bead up on it to make the bead. So these are very soft, and they will dent easy, but they make a dead sound. You're not going to get a ring out of them, which gives it a nice warm tone for what I would call like a solo horn. See, so here, thud, thud. Hear that? As opposed to the olds, which went ring like a ship bell. Thud. I mean, you can hear it ring, but it just goes thud because of the copper soft. So that means that this bell is not going to cut. Copper bells do not cut. They're warm. and they give you sort of fluffy tone. And if you really want to get loud on them, you really have to push, because you're trying to push your higher frequency vibrations through that. It's kind of like slogging through wet grass or mud. It's going to absorb all of those higher frequencies and just give you all the nice creamy smooth stuff in the middle. So it's going to have a nice warm comfy sound to it. It's not going to have you can get it to edge out. You could blow the crap out of it and make it edgy if you want, but that's not what this was designed for. It was to give it a, like I said, warm sound. Okay, next horn. Okay, so this next thing we're going to be looking at here, take a look. This is a 1940 Olds Super, or a Super Olds. But what's the difference between a 1940 Super and one that's newer? Okay, get that latch open. See, they like the velvet. Yeah, the velvet back then. These lions lifting cases. Okay, so let's take a look at this one. I haven't worked on this one yet, but I wanted to show it to you anyway. Okay, so the 1940 Super. Okay, 3/4 inch crans. Now, this is a 7-inch bell. This is not a 7.5 inch bell. This is a 7-inch bell. Smaller, okay, more direct sound, less ringy. Now let's look at this. These are etched. These letters are etched in. These aren't stamped in. Later models are stamped in, but the craftsmanship here, that these are hand etched letters in this crans and design. And instead of the old Super, it is the Super Olds, made in, what do you got here? Los Angeles, California, USA. Okay. See, what happens when water gets on it is that's what happens. So you have to keep your brass protected. But the Supers, again, this one sounded different before I stripped the lacquer off of it. And people want a little more response. Now, you have this beautiful red brass. Here we go, listen to this. Okay, let's see if I can get the position right. Thud, right? It rings a little bit more back here because it's thick, but it's red brass, which absorbs more. And then you get this crans, and it goes thud because of this. This makes it go thud, not ring. Ting, ting. Okay, and then of course you have nickel. The way the Supers were, nickel all the way down here, which makes it nice and zippy. And then I still have these are markings that I make when I'm looking for dents. So I circle them in red marker and I wash them off later, remove the dents. But this one's going to get delacquered because you can see the lacquer's missing. So it'll just get delacquered and polished. See, and that's how the water key handle should be going. But yeah, and then this is it's got a 10-inch screw, so it's not a friction fit. I mean, I have a 1930 something friction fit, and it's got the 1-inch garland on the bell. I'll probably parade that one out at some point in time when I do a video on all of the old Supers that I have that I will be moving out. So let me snap this one back in. Anything in there? Nope. Back here. If you buy this one, it will be missing covering, some raw wood here. I'll probably put something over that and glue something over that, but that's it. And then put handles on everything. So this is the 1940 Super Olds, okay, with a 7-inch bell, SF15. So now I've got another Olds. Let's take a look at that one. Okay, a different case now. I'm pretty sure this is an Olds case. It had sort of this this on it, but somebody decided to cover it in this 1970s wood paneling type of stuff. Okay, that's open. That's open. That's open. This is a 1955. Come on, focus. There we go. 1955 Super Olds. So what makes this one different? Well, this one has a 7.5-inch bell. And then if you look, we talked about this just now. If you look at the crans, that is stamped. It's not hand etched. So those are stamped letters. And you don't have quite the ornate decoration on it. And this, of course, is after they moved to, oh, this is still Los Angeles. Okay. So it's still LA. So this must have been the leftover parts because they moved, I think in '54, they moved to Fullerton from LA. So made by F.E. Olds, Los Angeles. So some of the horns were the Los Angeles parts still being produced in LA. This one I put a custom counterweight on. This did not come with a horn. Okay. So this is that two-piece counterweight you can buy from Thomann in the UK. Thoam. Thomann. Thomann. And it fits perfectly on the old Supers. So, but yeah, so that's a difference. It's 7-inch bell, still 3/4 inch crayons, stamped letters. And slide's still pretty standard. You know, it's got some remnants of lacquer on it, which I'll be stripping off and relacquering. But yeah, this one needed some alignment. You can see here that there are some adjustments. Unlike the Ambassadors, which have a one-piece brace, which is kind of interesting. It was to save money, but it made the slide lighter. This is a two-piece brace, so one piece here and then one piece here. So there's your adjustment point. And then this is a 3-piece brace. So this is not attached. This is soldered, silver soldered to this piece. So it's not really removable. Same down here. You get to the Conns, and these are braces that you can just remove. And then the adjustments here in the middle, and I had to do a lot of adjusting here. But generally with the olds is, however it's wide down here, has to be matched up here. So that's why it can be kind of funky sometimes with the Ambassadors, because the top hand brace is not adjustable. So that gets to be, I've never encountered an issue with it, but I've had my guru, Mr. Bruce Below, complain about it. You know, for those of you who know who Bruce is, really, Bruce complained? Bruce never complains. That's a joke, of course. So he said that getting those braces, those hand braces to coordinate with the slide crook widths can be tricky, and I leave that kind of stuff up to him. All right.